Now let's move down the form. I'll click to make more changes because we're not done yet. And I'll scroll down. We're going to add some more text fields across this area here, and they need to be formatted for a specific purpose. So let me go ahead and start by just adding a text field. And it will bring up the Properties dialog box. I'll move it over to the side so we can see what we're doing. And I can set the general information. Again, always, always, always name your fields. Call this one Date. I'll set my appearance. I'm actually going to allow this to be Helvetica because I want this to stand out a little bit on the form, and that's actually a pretty good strategy. If you want information to stand out on a form, use a very different typeface in the field, and that will help that information really just jump off the page. I'm going to set the font size, though, not to auto, but I'll set it to 14 point. I'll leave the text color alone, although I could change that. What we really want to determine about this field, though, is what the user can enter into it. I don't want someone to come into this field and type, "Sure, I'd love one," under date. That's not what I need. I need them to tell me the date that this information was filled into the form. To do that, I'm going to format the information in the text field for a specific purpose. So I'll select a format category, and the category that I'm seeking is date, although I can choose from among a number of them, and I'll show you some of the other of these in just a moment, but for now I'll choose date. And this is an example of Acrobat helping me through the process of building a form. I can't apply this kind of formatting to a multi-line text field, so let me click OK. So I'll come over to Options, and you can see that multi-line is now turned off. Come back to Format, choose Date, select the date format that I want, and I can move forward. So that was Acrobat just giving me a little assistance, helping me to understand that it doesn't make sense in a formatted date field to have multiple lines. So first off, it told me that. Second off, it turned it off for me. I went over there to confirm that. And now I'm back and I can set this so that it uses the format that I'm looking for. The format for the date that I want is month, month, day, day, year, year, year. That's sort of that Y2K compliancy. This is an example of the format so that I can see how it will look when I enter the text into the field. I'll click Close, and to test it, come over here, and I'll try to enter the wrong kind of data. So first off, I'll type in the word yes, I'd love a date. When I hit Tab to jump out, it warns me that this is an invalid date and time format, and Acrobat is telling me that I need to match this particular format because that's how the field is set up. The user would see this as well, and this is a way to help your users who are entering information into a form give you the right kind of information. So I'm going to click OK, and now we'll do the date. So it is August 29th, 2006. Now when I hit Tab, this is some other useful information. It's telling me that the size that I have set for this particular date format is inappropriate. It's too large, and that little plus sign is telling me that there's text that's not showing. What I'll need to do is go back to editing mode, select the text field tool, double click on this, and this is an example of a place where under appearance I'll probably want to choose the automatic font size. And when I select that, notice that the text does fit within the field that I've created for it, and that's again Acrobat's way of helping me to design the form so that it works correctly. I'm going to click Close now because we're going to create two more numbered text fields and work with their properties. And I want to show you a quick way to duplicate a field so that you can pick up from the existing properties, make what few changes you need to, and then move forward. It's a very efficient way to build form elements, and that's why I want to point it out. I'm going to hold the Control key down. On a Macintosh, it's Option, and I'm going to click and drag. And first off, if you look carefully, you'll see the icon has a little page plus next to it. That's an indication that I'm copying the element that I'm dragging. Now I'm moving it in a circle to show you that I can do so. I want these form elements to align perfectly, so I'm also going to hold down the Shift key. That will constrain it in 90-degree increments so that I can move it up or sideways, but I can't move it in a circle. And that's a very, very quick way to make sure that my form elements are aligning. Of course, I can use ruler guides to do this, but if I'm creating a series of form elements, this is a way to do so quickly. I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to want two sets of fields here. Control, Shift, and then let go. To finish it off, I'll expand the size of the two elements that I created. And the final step that I need to take is to just come in, double-click on each field to make it so that the fields don't contain the same information. What I mean by that is if you look, each of these fields now has the same exact information in it. And when I change one, the others will change. That's useful if you have the same date field sprinkled around a form. It's not useful if you actually want this to be something different. To break them apart, if you will, I'm going to change the name of the field. In this case, I'll call this one Job Number. For the format, I want the format to be a number, but I don't want it to be a date specifically. It's also the case that the job number will not have any decimal places. It's just a straight number, so I'm going to select 0 for the decimal places. And then if I want, I can set a currency symbol. These aren't dollar amounts, so I don't want to do that. And a separator style. And I actually don't want a separator at all because this isn't designed to be a standard sort of Roman numeral number. It's a job number, and generally those won't have comma separators anywhere in them. I'll click Close, and I'm going to come back over to Customer PO number, double-click on it, make the changes here. So I'll change the format from date to number, decimal places to 0, turn the separator off because I don't want any separators. I'm going to take one last step with these to show you a very useful feature within Acrobat, and that is the tooltip. When a customer comes into this form, they might not know exactly what information to enter into what field. The tooltip will help you tell them. So I'll type, enter the PO number here. And I'll also need to change the name of this so that it's a different form field. With that done, I'll click Close, and I'm good to go. But I'm actually not. I made a mistake, and I did it on purpose because it's a mistake that I frequently make when building form fields that I've created by duplicating other form fields. If you look carefully over at the date field now, the date formatting has disappeared. And it's disappeared because I changed the formatting of the duplicate field before I changed its name. Let me show you what I mean. First off, I'm going to duplicate this. I'll hold the Control and the Shift key down. And by the way, to duplicate a field on a Macintosh, it's Option Shift, not Control Shift. I have the field duplicated here. If I open it up and I need these two fields to have any differences whatsoever, the very first step that I want to take with my duplicate field is to rename it. So I'll rename this one Not Date, and I'll close it. Now I'm going to open this date field back up. I'll return to the formatting, reset the format so that it actually uses a date, the correct kind of date, and I'll close that. Now, the formatting change that I made to this field did not affect this field. When you duplicate fields, the very first thing you want to do is to change their name. Okay, so I'll go ahead and delete this example field because I really don't need it in the document. I want to focus on calculations.